Alrighty-o. It is March 28th of 2024. I am looking over the videos that I just recently did to make a video, right? And my focus is mainly on robots, because I think that's a very important subject to be talking about these days, and some turkey. But before that, there's this death van that I came across on BitChute, which is actually a good introduction to the video and as a whole when it relates to robots replacing people in, positions of employment, whether they're waitresses, which we'll see as we go along in this video that's going to be converting soon, and then after my next video, which is this video, I'm going to start taking some of these pictures to exposure. So in the meantime, I'm listening to this, thinking about that van that drove by my house when they took out Debbie's house with that man inside and he mysteriously disappeared. Anyway, they're trying to make it sound like whatever they're doing here with this death ban in China, it's legitimate when it comes to an execution. Where I'm sitting here thinking, well, I don't think they're telling us the whole story, because just as easily as they can execute somebody in this van and then take a supposedly dead body and put it in another van, in China that is, where it's cremated, well, they can also take out organs in this van and then hand over a body to the cremation van that's been, harvested, people. Right? That's just what I'm thinking. Now, keep in mind, it just crossed my mind here that, so they let their prisoners run free in society until such time they drive up in a van and say, that's it, your time's run out, get in the van and we're going to execute you because your time's run out. Because they literally, they drive them around and they pick them up in public, off the streets or in houses or wherever they find them, like they're not in jail. Because if they were in jail, it would be completely different, right? So they're just, randomly going around driving and saying, well, your ID says you're a prisoner and we're executing you? Like that, honestly, that doesn't even make sense. Okay, before I get too far into this, you see this picture? I'm copying and pasting it. And I'm going to use myself, like I said, as a comparison, because I know I'm 100% human. Alright? So, we'll be taking my face, looking all goofy, right, to exposure. Right? So, you gotta be able to laugh. Okay, so we're going to finish now. I'm going to do them in pint-sized jars with the leftover turkey bone broth. Turkey that was on the bones when I was stewing it, and whatever was left over after I did that. I have 8 jars. Now I may have to put another 1 or 2 or maybe 3, stack and pack. We'll see, right? But so far I've got 8. Now, as for these other jars, so far everything seems to be holding their seals. Don't have my glasses on me. Let me see if I can get a pair of glasses so that I can see this a little better. Hold on. Okay. So we're going to look at this in terms of, oh Lord, as if I can see. Okay, from what I can tell. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it on the, look at that water line. That is nice. I didn't lose very much in the canning process. So, in just the way that I did it, with the broth, heating it up, taking the cold turkey, putting it in, giving it a chance to heat up, kind of come to a boil, just, you know, enough to, look at that. That is nice, people. Look how nice this is. That's a lot of meat in there. And we got some turkey necks. Somebody's gonna get a liver. And then there's a couple of wingtips with just a little bit of the fat off. Look at that. They're all like this. That's what you want. So I'd recommend, if you're gonna do this, think about doing it this way. It worked out really well. Now you have to keep an eye on your jars for a few days, because one still might pop, right? Look, they're all like this. Every last one of them so far. Got 2 more to look at. We're going from jar to jar. Look at this. That is so nice. This one's a little lower. Not much though. Look how beautiful that is. That is so nice. And then there's one more. This one's a little lower. Not much. It's better where up here versus down here. I don't like my liquid lines like that. Now, if you get it like that and there's food up above, it's still okay, as long as your water line isn't below half, technically, right? The worst that's going to happen is whatever's up on top that's below the water line, because if you noticed, almost everything is under the water line with these, right? Over a period of time, it just oxidizes in color, right? And dries out a little bit because it's in, you know, stagnant air. Well, if you want to call it air. But look, everything's under the water line. And that was a 90-minute can. So that's really good. I'm totally impressed with that. Totally impressed with that. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that none of them will pop. Because sometimes one will, or Andre will come and put things on my lids, and I come and I don't know how long it's been there like that, and then one will pop 2 or 3 days later, right? So anyway, so now we're going to do the rest of it, and then after it's all said and done, I'll place everything all together. We've got this 7 jars of Primo turkey with Primo turkey bone broth. I don't know how many pint-sized jars we'll get, but that will be with the rest of the turkey. And then we've got 1 pint-sized jar of turkey fat that's been degreased already, and it's in the freezer. And we've got the cracklins. Plus we had that little bit extra for the cats, right?
The cats really liked it.
I know the cats really liked it. And then I got 2 little bags of chunk turkey frozen in the freezer for Amari. So, hold on. Okay, Andre just said he figured out how to connect the laptop to the TV. Don't ask me how he figured that out, but he did.
Marcane does it.
Oh. Okay, do you see this? This is the leftover from when I did that. Right? Now, in a situation like this, I think what I'm going to do is I am just going to, I don't need to heat this up because these have already been cooked, right? And I don't even really need to heat this up because that's really rich. So, turn that off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to distribute it. I'm going to work on trying to get 8 jars. Ugh. And then what we're going to do first is we're going to put this, no, maybe we'll start with this. What we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to distribute it between 8 jars, right? And then we're going to put that between 8 jars. Then we're going to fill it up with liquid so that when the liquid goes, because this is, right, you can see, oops, sorry, right, from when I had those chicken and everything in that pot and it was the leftover. Okay, this is good stuff. So, hold on a minute. Okay, so we're basically doing a cold canning because this stuff was cold in the fridge, right? It's already all pre-cooked. So don't even warm up your canner, right? So as you can see, where did my measuring cup go to? I like to scoop with that. Oh, I can't find it now. Oh my Lord. That's not good enough. Hold on a minute. Okay, I'm sorry if I complain about my eyesight, but so discouraging. It makes everything so hard. Alright, so basically, I put the little bits and pieces of meat on the bottom first, all pre-cooked. Then whatever miscellaneous byproducts from when I canned the first 7 jars, which is completely enriched with nutrients to some degree or another, right? I distributed it as best as I could evenly between everything. I'm using cold broth from the fridge. And now we're going to fill up the jars to the 1-inch head space. No salt because turkey tends to have its own salt. But I did put in, I think, 2 teaspoons of salt when I made the bone broth. So other than that, it doesn't, you don't need it, right? And then what this is going to be good for is a small pot of soup. Well, you could even make a medium pot if you wanted to. Spread it out. Right? But you can see what's going on here. Okay? So you have a fair amount of broth with a fair amount of turkey bits and pieces. If you were to make a decent sized pot of noodle soup with some vegetables, threw that in there with a couple of bouillon cubes, you'd be rocking. And you could probably feed, well, anywhere from 2 to 5 people, with some of those individuals being children, or maybe even 5 adults, a nice sized bowl, because, you know, sometimes just a little bit of turkey or, you know, as you're, right? It's okay. Or you could heat that up in a pot by itself. Do you see how that's kind of now just moving around? Right? You could put that in a pot, bring it like a little frying pan pot type, bring it to, you know, bring it to a boil, add a little extra broth or water if you want, like water if you, but what you do is you bring it to a boil. And then when it starts boiling, you know, you turn it down to middle of the line or so with a lid on. And then so it's still boiling under the lid. But you're not losing the liquid through evaporation because of the lid, right? For 10 minutes in the event of, quote unquote, there may be botulism. And then you can turn it into a gravy, right? Whether you're using cornstarch, arrowroot powder, potato powder starch, right? Flour and water, whatever. Yeah. So, hold on. Okay, so I'm going to run through this now. So we got the 7 quarts of Primo turkey with Primo turkey bone broth. And like, this stuff is so delicious, you don't even know. And then we've got the 8 jars with the little bits of turkey ends, bits and pieces of turkey, right? In addition to the leftover of whatever I did when I did with this, okay? And that's good, okay? Then we've got the 1 jar of turkey fat that's already been in the freezer. I was going to open it up and show you, but this jar has sealed itself. Now, when I put it in the freezer, I put the lid on like this ring, but I didn't tighten it so that if it, for whatever reason, it was to... fat doesn't really rise up when it freezes, and, you know, like it would be like water or juice or something. On the contrary, it sealed itself, and if you look at the water line, I mean the fat line, there's the fat line from what I can tell, it's pretty low. So the jar sealed itself while in the freezer. So, but it's going back in the freezer. It's just going to do that, right? So we got that, and that when you go to use it, you know, you can scoop out what you need and then put it back in the freezer after the fact in terms of anything left over. So, you know, don't think you have to take the whole thing out, let it unthaw, and then use it up real fast. No, you can, you know, you can, with that, you can probably, depending on what you're frying, anywhere, well, I mean, you could make some really nice French fries with that. That'd be so good. Either or, you can get a few fries on it, right, in terms of batches, depending on what you're frying. And then we've got vinegar now. Now we've got vinegar. Don't forget to wipe your rims on your jars. A little bit of debubble. So we've got the 8 jars of that. This is what I froze for amari. So you could consider that to be a meal for 2 to 3 people. 1 person for sure. My son could wolf down all of that by himself. But when times get tough, you know, that's enough for 2 people anyway. So 2 to 4 people, but we'll just call it a meal, right? So that's 2 meals there because you can spread it out, right? And then we've got a little bit of leftover broth, which I'm going to put in the fridge, and it tastes so good. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, whether I might make some gravy with it for something else later on. And then, of course, we've got the bones, which I'm going to grind up, and I'm just going to use as plant food. I was watching a show with China with their, oh my lord. I've been getting sharp pains in my head because of it. Huh?
It smells like vinegar.
Yeah, well, I just cleaned the lids. That's why I'm starting to hack here. I got on my fingers, rubbing my face. Oh, Lord. I'm talking.
Is that bone?
What? Yeah, those are bones. Talking about fake food. Like altered food, like, you know, food that's on the market from corrupt corporations cutting corners and adding in borax and different types of chemicals and using parts of animals they're not supposed to use, even human feces. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, the topic of bone, I don't know if it was human bones that they were making reference to, or if it was quote-unquote bones, which they said technically you're not supposed to eat. Well, I know that if I get like a chicken bone, or a turkey bone, or a pork chop bone, right, I'm the kind of person that will sit and gnaw on the bone until I can't gnaw on it anymore. So in that situation, I'm eating bone to some degree or another, depending on how soft it is. Although, I wouldn't want to eat, like, the whole bone, unless, of course, I was really, really hungry. Like, I wouldn't go out of my way to eat these outside of maybe a few. And even then, right? Like, it depends where it's at and, you know, what's surrounded, you know, in terms of the gristle and that kind of thing. Whether you can eat this or not, well, I don't think it would hurt you if you just used it sparingly. Because I eat bones anyway, sparingly, right? It never killed me. Always felt good about it. I always felt like I was getting extra nutrients from it. And maybe that's why I do it, right? But I won't eat the whole bone, even if it's been in a pot and it got real soft to where I could. When I start, you know, depending on what type of bone it is and where it's coming from on the bird, it's usually birds, right? I can't get with the whole bone, but I can eat bits and parts of it. If it's like a beef bone that's been cooked for a very long time and it's starting to, you know, crumble, I don't necessarily like to. I'll suck out the juices, the marrows, those kind of things, you know, gnaw off the gristle, but I ain't like chowing down on the whole bone and eating the bone like a dog. I'm just saying. So in this situation, oh God, that vinegar, hold on a minute. Okay, stay away from that vinegar. Yeah, right. So, I think I was talking about bone meal. Underneath my cupboard, I got bone, it says mixed bone meal for plants. Alright. So being that it's in this, and I don't know if I ever bought bone meal. It's not something I normally buy for plants. You know, but I've been in this house for a long time, so it's hard to say. There's eggshells in here, mixed, yeah, so this would be mine. I've got eggshells mixed in there, and whatever. So this here, I am just going to grind it up in a blender, my old school blender, and I'm going to pour it in there, and I'm going to stir it around. And as I'm doing plants this year, I'm just going to add that to the dirt. Okay, so the only thing that went to waste out of 2 turkeys that weren't very big for $48 was when I made the bone broth, put it in the fridge so that whatever grease was in the liquid itself, because turkey, even if you take off all the skin, still has a fair amount of fat in it, right? It came to the top, so I skimmed that off, right? And then I didn't repurpose that. I just put that in a plastic bag and put it in the garbage. But the grease, the fat that's in the freezer, oh yeah, for sure. Oh yes, and then we've got a little bag of cracklins. There's still a little bag of cracklin in here. So this is for salad. Only I've been nibbling on it. I've been nibbling on it to boost up my energy for a moment, right? Because I crash, eh? You see? So this is good for salad. So even if you're not going to use it all at one time, you can put some in the freezer and use it as you need it. And you can put it in with your rice, your salads, whatever you want. You can fry potatoes and mix it in with potatoes, right, after the fact. So I'd say I had no more than maybe a half a cup to 2/3 cup, not even that, a half a cup. And that's probably with a bit of broth in it because, you know, you skim from the top of the pot after it's been in the fridge. And so we'll just say a half a cup of unwanted turkey grease that I just didn't want, right? Other than that, everything else was used. So I've got pretty much almost every penny on this. So we've got the 7 jars, right? That can make a really nice meal for 2 to, I'd say, 5 people. So 7, and then 8 of these. 7 and 8 is, so that's 12, right? No, 7, 14, 15. So that's 15. And you can stretch it out however you want to stretch it out. From a little pot of soup to a big pot of soup. I'm just saying. Or a nice base for a gravy to put with rice and everything else. And you can double this, triple it with potato water that you boil potatoes in. And then, you know, mash a few potatoes in it, and then you take that potato water, add that in there, make your gravy, add in another bouillon cube or whatever, just to add a little extra flavor, and you get a big, nice pot of gravy to go over your rice or whatever you're going to do. So that's 15 meals right there, right? We'll break this up into 3 meals, sprinkling on. Okay, or however you're going to do it, but we'll just be fair about it. We'll say 2, so 15, 16, 17. The fat, we'll just round it off as 2 meals in terms of frying, 17, 18, 19. And then the bone meal, well, that's for plants, right? So, you know, however you want to factor that in. Or if you want, you know, you could grind up some of them, and then I'd put them in a jar, I'd put them in the freezer, and you could sprinkle them a little here, a little there. Not a lot, but just a little here and a little there into your meals just for that extra nutrient and, I suppose, calcium, right? As if you were gnawing on a bone, you know. You don't eat the whole bone, but you eat parts of a bone. Like if you know, you have a chicken leg and you start gnawing on it, and by the time you're done, you know, the leg is this, right? But by the time you're done gnawing off the ends, it's maybe about that much, right? So it is possible to eat chicken bones and that kind of thing. Just don't take it to the extreme. Or use it for your plants. In this situation, I'm just going to use it for my plants. So what did I say? 7, 8, that's 15, 16, 17... We'll put 2 fries with the grease, 17, 18, 19. And then those little packets of meat for amari, right? We'll just put that as 2 meals because you can spread it out between 2 to 4 people per meal, just, you know, in a stir fry or something, right? So well, instead of saying 4 meals, we'll say 3 meals. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So you could stretch it out between 22 meals with what I did here at $48. So 22 meals into $48. So that's 2, oh my God, 48, okay, so 22 and 22, 22 and 22 is 44. I paid 48. So you're looking at $2 and maybe 15, 20 cents per meal. If you really wanted to stretch it out in terms of the comfort food of having a little bit of turkey versus no turkey, right? So you could say that costed me $2 and we'll just say 20 cents. In combination of everything else that I got. $2.20. Half of this, $2.20. I'm not even factoring in the plant food. That's free. Okay, in terms of bone meal, right? And if you wanted to add it as an added nutrient to your everyday cooking, a little sprinkle, a little pinch, you know, a pinch here, a pinch there, that could go a long way. So I think $2.20 for 22 meals is pretty good, all in all, considering everything. So now that those are done, I wipe the lids. Clearly. And I'll put these on. Now I'm going to get them in the canner. And it's 75 minutes. Take them out. Let them sit till tomorrow. Wash the jars. Keep an eye on them for a day or 2 or 3 or whatever. And then put your labels on them. And put them away. The cooler the place, the better. Just have to get creative with it. So there you go. If you're looking to save money, that's how you do it. Uh-oh, something's going on. I think maybe the battery's low. I don't know what happened there. Either or. Yeah. Okay. Don't forget stuff like this too, eh? I did a whole bunch. It's already in jars, put away. And I have this big box full of shit that I... Andre, quiet. I have 4 jars left. I'm trying to avoid buying. I suppose I could put what I have into, you know, bags and vacuum seal, but I don't know. I like them like this. That's my problem. So I might have to resort to ordering a few more jars. Maybe. Because it's just, in my opinion, best. So when I did this with the other one, I've got like 8 jars. 8 jars? This is the 8th jar. So I've got 8 jars already full of either corn, peas, beans, broccoli. I'm not sure where I put the peppers. I don't think I put those little chili peppers in a jar like this, right? I'll probably resort to putting them into something else, but either or. And I ended up putting an oxen absorber into each one after the fact, and then I put the box away, right? So hold on. And then you can call me nuts. I took the time to rinse these out. I got a few more I have to fold up. Let them rinse them out. Air dry them one side, then turn around and turn them inside out. Air dry them on the other side. Take the time to fold them up. Right, I got a box full I have to do while I'm waiting for this canner. And then you can either use them for little garbage bags. That's kind of what I'm using them for. The stray ones anyway, at this point. And then some of them, I mean, you know, you could put meat in, or whatever, vegetables, and you could do whatever and vacuum seal, double vacuum seal, put whatever, or whatever you want. Like for this size here, you know, if I'm making meat, ground up meat, if I'm doing ground up meat or something like that, for hamburgers or something, or whatever, wontongs or whatever, I might consider putting it in this bag, taking out the air, and then putting it into another bag to help, you know, bring down freezer burn. Or put it into this bag, like say bones or something, right? And then into a vacuum seal bag, and then vacuum seal, and this will help to prevent poking through the vacuum seal bag. Alright. Just saying. Might come a day when you can't go as freely and easily to go off and buy these kind of bags, which I go through like water, for one reason or another. For what it's worth, it didn't cost me anything that I didn't already spend. And they store well after the fact. So the little bit that I got left over from this last batch that I did, I just go in here and put them with the rest of the bags and use them for what you need them for, right? Some of them I'll probably use for little garbage bags. I can put 3 or 4 diapers into one bag, among other little things in there. Alright. I'm just saying. Okay, so that's cheese. Old cheese. Yeah. I have a lot of old cheese in my fridge downstairs in Auntie Shmei's room. I haven't had a chance to dehydrate it yet. What happens is, as long as it's not molding, it can sit in its original wrapper for a very, 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 very long time. Velveeta cheese in its original wrapper unopened will sit in your fridge for over a year and a half or more. Trust me, I know. Okay. But what block cheese does is it ages. It gets more stronger. So if you bought a mild cheese and you left it in your fridge for a year and it never started molding because the original package never got poked, it maybe not be so mild when you go to use it, right? So it just becomes sharper, and depending on the cheese, it may not be as smooth as if it was bought yesterday from the grocery store, in terms of, like, if you want to make a grilled cheese, it may not melt quite the same, and it will taste much sharper, right? So within moderation, you can mix it in with macaronis and your casseroles and that kind of stuff. So anyway, I have some cotton. I'm going to try and cut fabric cotton bottom layers for these racks, because cheese releases oil, so you kind of want to capture the oil. So for now, just to get me motivated to get started, I'm just using paper towel. And when I did cream cheese, I had to change the paper towel. Almost done. I got like 11 minutes left to go. I had to change the paper towel halfway through with the cream cheese because of the oil. It released a lot of oil. Okay. All right. But if you can get just old cotton sheets or a piece of cotton, which I have, I just haven't had time. But I'm going to find the time to cut circles, because I've got, like, I don't know, I got a lot of cheese downstairs that I've been meaning to dehydrate. So I think I'm going to focus on the cheese. And then I've got that big bowl of sweet potatoes. Remember, Walmart charged me for 1 sweet potato but gave me 20. That's because I'm a big spender there. That's why. That's my, you know, thank you very much, Miss Chorney, for spending thousands of dollars with us over the last 2 months. You know, I'm just saying. So, I'm not bitching, right? So I got that. Now, Lucy, in regards to these dehydrators, remember I said I found one in a box, right? And I pulled it out. I used it for a while. At first it was okay, like in terms of, from what I could tell, in terms of the motor running and stuff. It must have been one of my old ones from back in the day, because it actually, I don't know what happened. I was dehydrating the corn, and I wanted it really dry. I put it in there and I left it too long, right? I left it too long, but I think the fan broke. The fan in it, because it was not running in terms of efficiency. So it must have been my older one from when I used to do walnuts, and we're talking years and years and years ago, right? And then I bought another one, which is the one that I've been using since whenever I bought that one. Anyway, long story short, I went in there and where is it? I got rabbit food here now. I don't see it. I'll find it. And I'll show you. What it did was the fan stopped working on it. The fan stopped working on it, and because the fan wasn't working on it, I guess the heating element was, and I left it for like a long period of time because, you know, I get tired, went to sleep, whatever, I forgot about it, then went and checked, and my corn had turned brown because it was cooking, right? But there was no fan, whatever, and my trays were starting to melt a little bit. I'll bring one out and I'll show you. And so anyway, I cleaned it, shook it out, you know, crumbs, whatever, plugged it back in, turned it on, and yeah, there's no fan. So, long story short, I bought another one. It was expensive. It was $374 plus tax, so about $400. The same kind that I have that comes in with 8 trays with those plastic liners for each tray. The ones with the holes and the flat ones, but I don't really necessarily need the flat ones because I bought the silicone ones for 12 trays anyway, right? So I don't have to use the plastic. Either or, you know, so, and the reason I did that is because this year, when apples come, right, because I have access to an apple tree. I will probably have access to this apple tree again this year. Whether there's apples a lot or not remains to be seen. My son, when he goes out working, sometimes he comes across these things. Last year he did. He was supposed to bring me some. He didn't. But maybe this year he might, and maybe he'll bring me some. The point is I'm not going to be canning applesauce. I don't think so. And if I do, it wouldn't be very much for any reason other than, right, because I already have. But I think what I will do, and this is why I bought this dehydrator, because I'm preparing for the summer and fall, right? I'm going to be dehydrating apples this year. As they're falling off the tree and I have access to them, I'll be dehydrating them. Yep, and stacking and packing that for the kids, right? Making more fruit leathers maybe or something, right? Blueberries are good to dehydrate. If my son can go buy me a whole bunch of blueberries from the farm, I will definitely dehydrate blueberries. Those are really, really good. I highly recommend it. Yeah. And they last a long time. They hold their flavor as long as you get them to that crunchy point, right? You have to dehydrate them to that crunchy point, right? Berries, raspberries. I don't like dehydrated raspberries. I find that it alters their taste when you want to reconstitute them with water. So I don't waste my time with that. Blackberries I don't need because I've got already from back in the day and they're jarred up, and if I ever want I got, so I'm not going to worry about blackberries. Although I might do fruit leathers depending on, I mean, it's this, people. It's this, my eyes. I'm trying to figure out how I can talk to this doctor without insulting him or upsetting him, where he acknowledges that he made an honest mistake in terms of he couldn't predict how my eyes would react to this cataract lens outside of, well, you can just use dollar store glasses to compensate for any loss or disruptions that you may have because of what we're doing. No, that was bad advice. Maybe for somebody that's got full spectrum for the lights and all and everything, I could maybe understand it. But for someone like me, no, that was the worst advice he could ever give me, man. Ever freaking give me. Like, this shit's making me sick. Like, literally, it's making me sick. But I figure I can still dehydrate apples. Definitely do blueberries. So that's why I bought another dehydrator, so I have it when the time comes, and I don't have to be dickering around looking for parts and all this other shit, right? Because it's sometimes you run into two of them, and when the apples start dropping, if this tree drops lots of apples, and if my son comes home, I swear I'll do apples every fucking day. Oh yeah, I don't mind. And then when the grapes come this year,
is that cheese?
yeah, I'm gonna start dehydrating cheese. It needs to be dehydrated. And then when the grapes come this year, depending on what happens, right, whether I get robbed or whether I don't, it depends. It just depends, right? One year I got robbed, one year I didn't. So it's a hit and miss. But this year, with the ones with the seeds, I've decided that I am just going to can them in a jar, whole, seeds and all, and keep it easy on myself, because you can eat grape seeds. As a matter of fact, they're good for you.
You can?
Yes.
I've heard it.
Huh? Well, they're really crunchy, so it's better to put them in a little capsule and take them that way if you can, right, after you grind them up. I have ground up grapeseed for that purpose, plus I've got a whole bag of grape seeds from last year. I'm always busy doing this crap, so, but this year, if we get grapes, I'm just canning them whole in these size jars. And if you don't like the grape seed, you can spit it out. If you like it, you can chew it and eat it and get the added benefit from it. And I will be doing it in a medium, light medium syrup, which just quote unquote normal sugar. Oh, I'm almost done. I'm down to my last minute. Oh, God. And I was buying these, you know, these canned hams with the pull tabs. I have a fair amount in the house. I did the video when I was doing my, this is how I shop. Found those ones for $3 a can. I bought 2 times, right? 2 times. And the second time, I don't know. I had them in this thing. One of the orders. Somebody must have done it. I don't think the can did it to itself. I don't think the can buckled, because there was nothing to indicate that there was any dents or anything in the can itself. But somebody pushed the tab in or something. So long story short, because I've been chowing down on them in between my day, because that's how I eat sometimes. I go, drink coffee, smoke, go, whatever, right? And I start crashing. I guess my sugar level drops or something drops. But even I'm drinking, I drink a lot of sugar, right? And then I just, so I just open up a can and eat half of it, right? Just to bring me back up. 2 cans I opened were spoiled because somebody did something to the pull tab. Yeah. I was choked. I lost $3, $6 on 2 cans of ham. So I went and I checked all the other ones, and I'm, you know, feeling with my fingers to see if any more had been compromised right at the part where it just starts to come out. I think it was done by somebody that did that. Who and where and how, I don't know. It came to my house like that. So I've decided that I'm not ordering any more cans like that online, even though that's the first time that I'm aware of people that I've had that problem, right? And because of that, and you know, like if I'm going to spend, like they had canned ham for $5.97, a different brand, right? Maple Leaf or whatever it was, $5.97 regular price. Then they had it down to $3.97. I would have bought 10 cans, which would have ended up being like $40, right? For 10 cans, just for the purpose of it being convenient and already canned and, you know, long-term food storage. But after opening up those 2 cans in the last week and a half, where there clearly somebody did something to them, and I'm like, was it a Muslim that doesn't like pork? You know, fucking with my head? Or did maybe somebody do that in the store, and when the person came and picked, I didn't notice it. So if I didn't notice it, when maybe the person who picked the cans off the shelf didn't notice it, but somebody did it, right? It didn't do it by itself, because if it did, there would be more dents in the can itself, and these cans are like really sturdy. Long story short, I've decided that if I ever go off and buy canned ham again with the pull tab, I'm double checking myself. I'm going to go to the store myself, and I'm going to double check and make sure that, you know, I'm going to go get a can. I'll show you. Hold on. Okay, so how about we end this video with this? We'll just keep it like, I'll just call it like kitchen stuff. Just kitchen gab. I'm just gabbing, right? Kitchen gab slash turkey dinner at $2 and we'll just say 20 cents at this point, but I'll crunch the numbers. $2.18 per meal. It'll be like $2.18 of turkey per meal. Like, how did that happen? Well, you watched my video. Okay, so I'll do something. Okay, so first we'll talk about the ham. All right. Right? Convenient if you eat meat, pork, whatever. $3 a can. Even at $4 a can, it's convenient, right? As a matter of fact, Andre and I, we had some of this last night. I fried up some celery, carrots, garlic. Yeah, nice cast iron frying pan. And then I threw in some chunks, half of this in chunks, stirred it around, fried it up a bit, and then a little bit of spinach on top, moved it around, put the lid on, turned down the cast iron pot. It cooked the spinach. We chowed down on it. It was really good. And then this morning, I got up. Obviously, I'm drinking coffee. And then I'm crashing, and I ate the other half of the can. I'm just saying. All right. So anyway, I got to put these things away. If they're out of sight, out of mind, then I'm not apt to do that, right? But for now, all right. So these ones were $3 a can for this particular brand. 454 grams, which is the max that you can get for it, which is pretty good, right? For the amount of money, because that's about a pound. So you're paying $3 a pound already pre-canned. The only problem is there's nitrates in it, but all in moderation. Okay. Right in here, if you're ever going to buy these things, make sure you check. I opened up 2 of these cans, and for whatever reason, it was spoiled on the inside because these things up in here were compromised. So somebody had come, grabbed this, poked it, and then put it back. And then, of course, when I got it, I mean, I don't see very well, and it's not like I stopped to really double check these corners, right? I mean, and then when I went to go eat some, it was no good. But the can itself is not buckling. So I'm thinking somebody did that on purpose. So just be aware of that. So now, I could order 10 more of these of Maple Leaf that are on sale, and I save $2 a can for the same grammage, right? For $3.97 versus $5.97. But because this happened, and I lost 2 cans, I've decided I ain't buying no more. Not unless I'm in person. And when I go, I will double check. Otherwise, I'm not taking my chances. And I can only hope that whatever I've bought over the last, we'll say, year, and put away in my room and wherever, are okay, because I never really did stop to take the time to, because these cans are usually pretty good. That's the first time that's ever happened to me. Alright, so that's subject number 1. Now subject number 2, to finish this video. Remember I said I overcooked my corn? I sure did, didn't I? Why? Because the fan went out. The fan stopped running, that's why. I'm pretty sure if the fan would have kept going, but when I had these in there, I could hear that the fan was not as vibrant as the one that I've been using normally, right? That was the one that was in the box. So, either or. Now, still smells like corn. I suppose if I was really desperate, I could save it and eat it. Because it's actually quite good. It doesn't taste burnt. It tastes actually quite good, honestly. My thing is, okay, I'm still on the fence with this because it does taste good. And because it was in there a little longer, it just brought out a different kind of flavor. It enhances the corn. I don't know. It's just good. I don't know how to explain it. And clearly, you can hear it, right? Like it's cooked. Nothing wrong with it, except for maybe. Like I said, I'm on the fence with this. I don't know if I should keep it. Just sprinkle in my food. I don't know if I should give it to the birds, because I'm sure they'd love it. Or if I should sprinkle it in with the rabbit food. I got 3 choices. And that's because as that fan wasn't working after some, look what happened. Do you see? Now, these trays, they still fit. See, this one's not like that. Do you see? I had a couple like this. Big difference.
I'll be right back, okay?
Yeah.
I heard them in the garage.
Yeah, because of the heat without the fan. Now I have a dehydrator up there, a little black thing, a small one, with quite a few trays on it, that only produces heat, but has no fan. And that one up in that pantry, way in the back, is good if you wanted to dry crafts with. Like just to dry them on heat, low heat or whatever, right? Or walnuts or something. Walnuts you kind of want a fan though a little bit because you want to move the air around because the mold will grow on the shell, right? Like the natural, it's not mold, but the natural whatever grows on walnuts, right? So a fan is good for that. But if you needed to dry out something like crafts or even walnuts or whatever, I have one up there that it does not have a fan. This other one I'm just going to chuck out, right? But with it sitting there with no fan and just producing heat, this is what it did. As well as crunch up the corn, which doesn't taste bad. It's not like you can't use it, because you could. It's just I don't know if I want to, because not this one. Well, we'll just use this one here as an example. This one here, as it was sitting as it was sitting, there was just like a couple of them, right? One was really bad. Well, not really bad, but it kind of melted, right? A little bit.
One did melt.
Yeah, well, not completely, but...
Well, it was a hole in them.
Yeah, it had one little hole. But right? So you changed the shape of it. And then one had a little kind of melted, right?
A melted spot?
Huh?
A spot that's melted?
Yeah, there's a hole because it melted, right? Because it sat. Because like I said, I overlapped. Can I finish my video? Please don't interrupt me.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling that great.
I just couldn't see like what you were talking about.
Oh, I'm just talking about this.
And
is
I just
for
wanted
Lucy.
to tell you Marina's home.
What?
Marina's home.
Okay, and?
If you're wondering what that booming was.
No, I figured that. So these were sitting on those trays that were clearly shape-shifting. So, you know, if I was really desperate for food and we were in Armageddon times, then yeah, I'd keep it. But, you know, considering what happened to the plastic, I'm sure my rabbits would love to have this sprinkled in with their rabbit pellets. Andre will try it. If they eat it, then that means they like it. And if not, then the birds will get it. And I know the birds will eat it, right? Or I'll give to both. I don't think I'm going to keep it even though it's still edible. Just because of the plastic. So that, I suppose, is one disadvantage to a dehydrator with plastic trays. I mean, I've never had that happen to me, although the ones that I use for the dehydrator, they do burn out over a period of time, depending on how much you use them and how hard you work them. And I work mine really hard, right? So, and I'm happy with what I've got. And because the one that I thought that I had didn't last very long, because it was probably an old one and to begin with, and that's why I bought the other one. But besides that point, it better be the old one and not the new one. I don't know. Anyway, I've got it, right? I ordered another one. So I get 8 new trays. 8 new, these things. To buy these things, it's my eyes, eh? And I'm working so hard now, did you see that? To buy these things, it costs $20 just to buy 2. I said, to hell with it. I'll just get the 8 trays, the dehydrator, with 8 of these, and 8 of the plastic flat ones. Even though I've got the silicone ones now, but whatever. And then as for this one that's warped, I think there's a couple of them that are kind of this way, but I can still use them. I can still stack them, right? But for this one, you know, you can put this at the bottom of a planter pot. A big planter pot. And that would be great for drainage. Or you could build yourself a nice square planter pot. See, I won't even throw this out. You told me you would stop hanging on to things that you don't need. Well, actually, we need this because plants like to have drainage. And this would be perfect for drainage for a plant at the bottom of a planter pot. So when my new ones come, I'll go through what I don't want, and then I'll take these outside, and then when I start working outside, I may just try and build in a planter pot or something to have these at the bottom with a few drainage rocks on top or underneath or something, right? And what else? You got any other ideas what I can do with it? I could take yarn. I could take yarn, people. It would actually look very nice. And I could sit there, in and out, in and out, in and out, and make a beautiful design for wall hanging. Or maybe one of those things. Some sort of a, you know, dream catcher. I could. I might do that too. That would be kind of cool. And then you could take a glue gun and dress it up with some trim, lace, sequins, whatever you want. So that's something else to consider. Right? A little Leah May. I'll keep one for a little Leah May. And I'll start one. I got some yarn around the house. Yeah. So Lucy. Just be aware. Don't be afraid. Alright? These things are designed not to catch on fire. Alright? The worst you're going to do is overcook your food. But if the motor is starting to go, the fan, you'll hear it. And you'll just have to be a little aware. Right? That it might just blink out on you. And then you'll have to buy a replacement. So I bought myself a replacement because I'm getting ready for summer and fall when the apples start dropping. Yeah. I'm definitely going to get some blueberries this year. And I'm going to definitely can grapes with their seeds in them this year. So I already got my summer, fall. And then when it comes to meat, I'm not ordering this. I don't need corned beef. I'm okay with the salmon. Every now and then I'll pick up the sockeye salmon only because it's got really high nutrients. And they don't have pull tabs, so I will continue to invest into those every now and then. Right? It gets expensive. 10 cans is $50, right? At Walmart. More money at Canadian Superstore because they charge $6 a can, where Walmart charges $5 a can. So when it comes to meat, I've kind of decided that I will be, every now and then, as long as I can see, I will pressure can. But I don't know if it's really, you know, if I had to choose between, like I'm not really interested in pressure canning chicken when I already have it. And it would have to be at a really, 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 really good price before I can it. And I'm not looking to can, quote unquote, just chicken legs, right? Because you can usually get chicken legs pretty cheap. But I already got a whole bunch, and I would prefer just the whole bird and then cut it up and do it that way. Turkey, I would consider again because it is a comfort food. It is a comfort food. And, I mean, some people would think that what I've done here is, I don't know, not economical. I didn't have to buy the jars. I already had the jars. I bought these jars like 2-3 years ago. They had dry goods in them stored away. I just took out the dry goods, put them in a Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber, and put that away. They were steel cut oats that tasted really good still after being vacuum sealed in these things. And then they were underneath the bathroom sink downstairs for a couple, 2-3 years or whatever it was. And they were perfectly fine, so it didn't cost me anything. And my neighbor gave me 2 cases of these. For whatever reason, they were brand new. So I didn't even pay for that. So, you know, I would consider canning turkey again. Because you can do it this way and get 22 meals out of it. Anywhere between 1 to 5 people, depending on what type of meal that you're making. Because when it comes to comfort food, You know, it doesn't have to be a whole plate of turkey in order to satisfy the dopamines that are in your brain compared to having a few bites of it within your meal. And if times get tough, well, what are we having for dinner tonight? Well, we're having turkey soup. Oh, turkey soup. So they're like eating their soup, waiting to get a little piece of turkey.
We're having turkey soup tonight?
No. I'm just talking, Andre. I'm just talking.
I was so excited there. I was like,
Yeah, no. We'll make turkey. We can open up a jar and make turkey soup with it next week. Or maybe Nana will buy another turkey.
Stick it in the oven, make some mashed potatoes, gravy, salad. Can I make macaroni tonight?
Later.
I'm gonna ask Marina if she can help me with Twitch, because she might know what to do.
No. Leave it alone. Stop gooning. I'm doing a video, please. He tries to hit me up when he thinks I'm vulnerable, and I'll agree to something. Yeah. Okay, so if I had to choose what I would can, because I'm like, all right, get away from the nitrates. You got more than enough. You know, wait for pork to be on sale. Well, because even pork is getting expensive. If I get a good cut, not too fatty, at a reasonable price, then yeah, I'd go out of my way to can some pork before I'd buy this online. If I see pork on sale at a good price online, I would consider spending, if I'm going to spend what I've been spending on this stuff, I might as well take that $40, $30, $50, whatever it is, and just get myself 2 pieces of meat and can myself this size, or even that size, doesn't matter. Do it that way. And definitely beef. Wait for the beef to go on sale, because that's the one with a lot of nutrients in it, right? Beef is superior to pork in terms of nutrients. So I've kind of narrowed it down now where I'm back to canning meat. I just don't know when I'll be canning it, because any meat that I can from this point forward would have to be on sale. Like those turkeys. And for $48 for those 2 turkeys, I didn't really get very much, but when you think about it, when it comes to comfort food, if you can get 22 meals for $2.18 a meal, well then it kind of makes sense. Right? It all depends on what you combine it with and how you make it. So, now I'm on to dehydrating some cheese, but I have to cut some fabric. Ugh. So I got to work on that on the next day or 2 or 3. And we've got the, what is it called? Sweet potatoes. So I'm looking forward for when this other dehydrator comes. I'm going to try it right away. If I'm not happy with it, they're either going to have to replace whatever I'm not happy with, or I'm going to send it back, because I'm paying a lot of money for it, right? Because the last time I bought it, they gave me the flat, I can't find them though. I don't know where they are. I'm kind of keeping an eye open for them, but I don't know what happened to them. They're flat, right? No holes, right? But they were kind of like a little, I don't know. They weren't nice. They weren't straight. They were kind of like whatever. And but I don't use them all the time, so I put them all in a bag and I put them someplace. Do you think I can find them? No. But if they send them to me like that again, tell them they have to replace them or give me a discount. These though I like. These ones I definitely like. I bought because I knew I'd get these ones. Yeah. And I've never, in all the years that I've ever used these things, ever have anything melt on me. Except for this last little bout with the fan going on it and cooking my corn. To which the birds and the rabbits will get, more than likely. I don't need it. You know why I don't need it? Because I went off and I bought 5 more bags of frozen corn to compensate for the corn that I overcooked. So there you go. That's rabbit food and bird food, right? If the rabbits like it, well, they'll get a treat. If they don't like it, then the birds get it all. Whatever. And if the birds don't eat it, the raccoons will find it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so that's the end of this video. Pay attention. It's a drag when you open up the can. It's all gray on side, and clearly there's, you can tell it. Well, I can't see very well, but I could see that it was looking kind of gray, and it sure in the hell didn't smell very good. So pay attention.